Hey Jagger, the running reality show live from the Oval Office, well, it dropped another episode just earlier today. And this one features German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. No, that's Fred Merz from I Love Lucy. And America's favorite made-for-TV president, Donald Trump. It's an episode chock full of the twists and turns that we've all come to expect, but none will be better than our featured clip, I promise you that. Wait until you see the bromance breakup moment as Trump turns heel on Elon. So, maybe that's how he got that black eye. I don't know. Well, actually, we're going to get into that. It's part of our story today because this reality show from the Oval Office where international leaders get hot-seated for the amusement of your reigning POTUS, well, today's episode, it's really special. It stands out. You might say it's must-see TV. But first, let's start with our congenial host, DJ Trump, putting Chancellor Merz at ease with his witty repartee. Let's lend an ear.
What defense spending?
Is Germany doing enough on defense?
The Chancellor wants to.
Is Germany doing enough on defense?
The Chancellor wants to spend 3.5.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I haven't discussed it very much. I know that you're spending more money on defense now, and quite a bit more money, and that's a positive thing. I'm not sure that General MacArthur would have said it's positive. He wouldn't like it, but I sort of think it's good. You understand what I mean by that?
I understand.
He made a statement, never let Germany rearm. And I said, I always think about that when he says, sir, we're spending more money on defense. I say, oh, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I think it's a good thing. But, at least to a certain point. There'll be a point when I'll say, please don't arm anymore if you don't mind. We'll be watching him. I'll get it.
Mr. President Biden, Mr. President.
Ah, the sneer of cold command. Now Google that and you'll be happy you did. Before we get to the musky juice of today's story, for a second, walk with me on this. Back in the Oval Office, Merz mentions that D-Day is tomorrow, and Trump jumps to a stunning conclusion. See if you agree. On the other side of this, we'll have our emotional plea, Leon, wherefore art thou, Leon? But first, let's not miss the chance to insult the German Chancellor while we can.
June 6th, tomorrow, this is D-Day anniversary, when the Americans once ended a war in Europe. And I think this is in your hand in specific, in ours.
That was not a pleasant day for you?
No, that was not a pleasant.
This was not a great
in
day.
the long run, Mr. President, this was the liberation of my country from Nazi dictatorship.
That's true.
Jagger, you're quick to point out that we liberated the Germans from Nazi oppression. Well, this guy did, my dad, and all the others like him. Now, the only way that would be a bad day for the Chancellor is if he were a Nazi. Go figure that, right? But the clod plods on, full speed ahead. Damn those bone spurs. Why, here's some highfalutin international strategy regarding the war in Ukraine. But it's our Musk-Trump public display of disaffection coming up on the other side of this you don't want to miss.
But sometimes you see two young children fighting like crazy. They hate each other and they're fighting in a park. And you try and pull them apart. They don't want to be pulled. Sometimes you're better off letting them fight for a while and then pulling them apart. And I gave that analogy to Putin yesterday. I said, President, maybe you're going to have to keep fighting and suffering a lot because both sides are suffering before you pull them apart, before they're able to be pulled apart. But it's a pretty known analogy. You have two kids, they fight. Sometimes you let them fight for a little while. You see it in hockey. You see it in sports. The referees let them go for a couple of seconds, let them go for a little while before you pull them apart.
Okay, so here we go. This is really right up there with, Sam and Diane from Cheers, things like that. Well, all good things must come to an end. And on a very special episode of Live from the Oval Office, Donald and Elon must part ways. Because in the end, the greatest love of all is the love of self, it turns out. Now, here's the gripping conclusion to this BFF bromance that we've all had to endure at what will ultimately be an inhuman price.
Remember, he was here for a long time. You saw a man who was very happy when he stood behind the Oval desk, and even with the black eye, I said, do you want a little makeup? We'll get you a little makeup. But he said, no, I don't think so, which is interesting and very nice. He wants to be who he is, so you could make that statement too, I guess. Look, Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if it will anymore. I was surprised because you were here. Everybody in this room practically was here as we had a wonderful send-off. He said wonderful things about me. You couldn't have nicer. Said the best things. He's worn the hat. Trump was right about everything. And I am right about the great, big, beautiful bill. But I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here. Better than you people. He knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden he had a problem, and he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate, because that's billions and billions of dollars, and it really is unfair. We want to have cars of all types. Electric, we want to have electric, but we want to have a gasoline, combustion. We want to have different. We want to have hybrids. We want to have all. We want to be able to sell everything. And when that was cut, and Congress wanted to cut it, he became a little bit different, and I can understand that. But he knew every aspect of this bill. He knew it better than almost anybody, and he never had a problem until right after he left. And if you saw the statements he made about me, which I'm sure you can get very easily, it's very fresh on tape. He said the most beautiful things about me, and he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next. But I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
Tell you.
He's not the first. People leave my administration and they love us. And then at some point they miss it so badly, and some of them embrace it and some of them actually become hostile. I don't know what it is. It's sort of Trump derangement syndrome, I guess they call it. But we have it with others too. They leave and they wake up in the morning and the glamour's gone. The whole world is different. And they become hostile. I don't know what it is. Someday you'll write a book about it and you'll let us know. Yeah.
And so, like sands through the hourglass, so go the days of our lives. Wow. Honestly, if he thinks that people are turning hostile because they wake up missing that faux, tawdry glamour of Planet Trump, geez, I mean, even Jeffrey Epstein turned on him. He has no friends. Not one that isn't maybe on the dole. And that's because, let's not forget, everything he touches fails.